a couple months ago, I apologize, I went to Arches National Park with a group of friends. We decided to go canyoneering, and we picked a route that had 4 or 5 rappels. And on the third rappel of the route, I noted that it was hardly a rappel at all. It wasn't down a cliff, it was down a slope. It was only 20 or 30 feet long, and I turned to my buddies and said, we don't need to waste the time setting up the rope. We could basically walk down that rappel. So while they were debating whether or not I was right, I decided just to go for it. I walked over it, and almost immediately found myself slipping and careening down the slope I thought looked easy. And my friends watched as I dug my hands and feet into the walls, and I ended up with terrible rub burns on both my hands and probably a 1/4 inch off the bottom of both my shoes. Them, not wanting to repeat the episode I just had, decided to go and set up the rope, which I had been carrying. After they realized that, they had no choice but to follow me in my destructive actions. Now, you could judge me for the dumb decision which I made, which I totally did. It was definitely a dumb decision. But the reason I'm telling this story is because I'm glad I had that experience. My buddies and I had gone out into nature where we could be spontaneous. We could have an adventure. And because of that, I have this story to tell you today. We as a society do not spend enough time in nature. And today I would like to talk about how much time we should be spending in nature, why we don't spend that much time in nature, and the benefits you'll gain as you return to nature. Florence Williams, a scholar at George Washington University, states that we need to be outside for at least 30 minutes every single day. Every single week, we need to go somewhere less urban, maybe a hike or visiting a river. Every month, we need to go somewhere even more removed than that, maybe a national park or a lake. And every year, we need to spend multiple days removed from society, maybe a camping trip or a river rafting trip with people we love. If you don't spend that much time outside, don't worry. I realize that I don't either. And I believe the reason for that is because society pulls us away from nature. Which brings us to our second point. Brian Hill, a professor here at BYU, teaches a class called Creating a Good Life. In that class, he stated that children spend 25% less time outside today than they did just a few decades ago. And he said the reason for that is because society criminalizes nature, or makes it hard for us to spend time outside in nature. 2 examples that he shared as to how that's true is, first, lawsuits have increased considerably in the last few decades, making it so that parents are scared to let their children play outside and to spend time unstructured because of how dangerous that could be. And second, government lands that once were places that children could play are now blocked off by fences with no trespassing signs, and they're not able to have unstructured play there. But we need to have the time outside. The benefits are too great. Which brings us to our third point, the benefits we gain as we go outside. Now you can see I have a picture of a superhero up here. When you think of a superhero, you think of somebody with greater senses, greater ability to see or hear, maybe super speed or super strength. And the reason that I have that is because psychology today says there's a new disorder that only has begun existing as of the last few decades, and it's called nature deficit disorder. And the first thing you lose when you don't spend enough time in nature is your senses. All of your senses are diminished if you don't reach nature recommendations. You don't have as much ability to smell or taste or hear. These are things that I know I want in my life, and the first reason we should return to nature. Second, our mental alertness is diminished. I don't know about you, but as a college student, I know I would be a better student if I could focus better. I know I could get more done if I could pay attention in class. And that's something every single one of us as students here could use. Third, our physical and emotional health are both detrimented when we don't spend enough time in nature. Whether it be because you want to have greater senses, or greater alertness, or greater health, the benefits of nature are huge and we need to spend time outside. So find what you can do to reach nature recommendations. Go outside, whether or not it's because you want to be healthier, more alert, or because you want to be your own superhero. Thank you.